Well, speaking of taking a ride, let's take a ride on the MJF Express, because thankfully he saved this program. This is one of the best 5 minutes of wrestling business I've seen in a long time. And with one notable detail issue that I don't know why anybody couldn't have seen this, and it wasn't the talent in the ring's fault, but everything else, MJF is going to wrestle Captain Shawn Dean. Who Shawn Dean was in camouflage when he was introduced. He's already on AEW television, so he's already invisible. He doesn't need to be camouflaged. But single match, we know what's been going on with Wardlow. He's banned from the building, but he's trying to come in and harass and nettle and persecute MJF and etc. But from the start of this thing, just to make it different, this didn't have anything to do necessarily with the angle, but he's such a brilliant young man. Do you know who MJF stole the jacket deal from?
No, who did that?
J.J. Dillon. And I've got to say, he did it better, but only because this was television and MJF had to hurry. And Tony Schiavone almost blew it, but not quite, because he almost jumped the gun when he said, look at this idiot, he can't get the jacket off. He almost blew it, but it was there where it could be taken either way. But the deal is, if you see it in its full-fledged entirety without having the TV limitations, it's a warm-up jacket with a zipper. JJ would get the introductions, you know, the whoever his opponent was would go to the corner, he'd turn around and go to the corner, and he'd go to pull the zipper down, and it wouldn't work. And he would do the deal like this where he didn't want anybody to see it. And he would milk it longer, as I said, because there wasn't time limitations, but he would be doing what you would do if you really had a fucking zipper that wouldn't work and a bunch of people were about to laugh at you. He would yell at the referee, hey, referee, check his tights or whatever, and then he'd turn the back so the opponent couldn't see it and point at it, and he'd jerk a couple of times at the zipper, and people at ringside would start noticing, and he'd get that look on his face down at it like, God damn it. And he'd look to see if anybody was noticing. Well, him looking to see if anybody was noticing would make other people notice. And then he'd yank it a couple more times. Then the referee would come over and say, come on, let's come out, take the jacket off. And then JJ'd be like, just 1 second, just 1 second. And he'd try again. Now everybody in the building's picking up on it. People are starting to point. And now the referee's looking around the JJ's shoulder, and the opponent is starting to look. And he's kind of peeking over, and he's starting to laugh. And now when the opponent points to the jacket and asks the referee, can he not, shakes his head, right? The referee shakes his head back, and now everybody in the building knows that JJ can't get his fucking zipper down. And now, since everybody's getting on him, he's just hauling off and jerking it and fucking cussing and stomping his foot and trying to pull it. And the opponent gets a little closer and a little closer, and the referee goes over and tries to help him. And right as the guy gets close enough, JJ reaches right over the referee and punches the guy right in the fucking eye, and then immediately pulls the zipper down and throws the jacket off. It's a 4 or 5 minute deal, but for house shows. But it was fucking great. And I loved seeing it again. And MJF is looking great physically, right? He's just really, he's tan and he's in shape. He's got his shit together. And he starts kicking the shit out of old Shawn. But then as soon as it starts, there's a camera in back that pops up on the screen. And the camera is running up on security guys that are laying on the floor, motionless, and one of them has no shirt on. Now, this is the detail I was talking about. If the cameraman knows to run from a place to go up there, how does he know, Brian?
I don't know how he knows.
Well, he knows if they've heard some commotion, or maybe somebody has said, hey, there's a problem back there. But here's the thing. When you run up, if nobody is checking on these people who are laying there motionless, apparently unconscious, is there a gas leak? Are we all in danger? What's happened to them? Would the camera zoom up on them and just shoot them, or if the cameraman was the only person that saw that these guys were down, would he be just shooting it, or would he be screaming, "Hey, get somebody"? Or wouldn't there be a person or two, like not the security, they're the ones laying there, but a doctor, a random referee, a backstage popcorn salesman, somebody already checking on them to determine that they're not fucking dead? That's the off-putting visual. If there's somebody in charge of it, somebody already has found these people and is evaluating their condition, called 911, whatever, then the cameraman can shoot it. But if the cameraman's the first one to come up, he needs to put the camera down and check and see if they're breathing first. A little thing I know, but it's the picture you're painting. There's details in the Mona Lisa. But besides that, MJF freaks out, sees this, goes back to Dean, throws him out on the floor, runs him into the barricade, exults in the fans' boos there at the railing, and Wardlow in a security shirt and a COVID mask walks up behind him and takes the shit off. And MJF, holy shit, and fucking Wardlow goes after MJF and starts wiping out a dozen security guys that are just coming and running endlessly. It looked like the clown car at the goddamn Ringling Brothers, except it's security guys coming out in a steady stream nonstop. And he wipes a bunch of them out, but finally 15 of them stop him. Just sheer numbers, and he's immobilized in this mass of humanity. But the referee is counting MJF. And MJF's run back to the stage, so he gets on the microphone and says, "Bryce Remsburg, whatever Tony Khan's paying you, I'll triple it if you don't count me out." And Remsburg looks back and forth, and 10. Oh, motherfucker. And Dean wins by count out. And the people went berserk, and Wardlow is over. This is over. When you get reactions like this, and you look like that, and you're coming in and laying waste to people, and the babies are going in the air, that's fucking over. They want to see this. They want to see Wardlow get his hands on MJF. They want to see this kind of shit where he throws people away because he's a giant fucking behemoth. It was a wrestling angle. And MJF then was in the back screaming, MJF was arguing with the referee, rather, in the ring, while Wardlow was going crazy in the back screaming, "I'm going to get out of this contract." This was a wrestling angle. You want to see these two get a hold of each other, or specifically Wardlow get a hold of MJF, more now than you did last week. That's a wrestling angle. What'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. This was the end of the good portion of the show, but this was the highlight of the show. Hey, to be repetitive, it's every MJF segment. We can go back now to the Pillman feud. It's every MJF segment. It's logical. Reminds me of professional wrestling because it is professional wrestling. And you said Wardlow's over. It's interesting. This is all being done the traditional way. These are young guys. They have a young flair. They add young things. I'm not that old, much older now. I don't know why I'm using young so much. These are younger guys doing new things. And it's getting over in the traditional way. Wardlow seems to be much more over than their World Heavyweight Champion is. And he's getting a different kind of chant than the World Heavyweight Champion would get. I don't know. I think they've got something with Wardlow, and I think it's not just because he's a big guy and he looks, like a monster and he could do some stuff in the ring. It's also because of the way this has been built up. This has all been done, other than the early teases, which didn't make much sense.
Way back at the start, you're talking about.
Yeah, but the stuff the last several weeks,
way too early.
With Wardlow trying to get to MJF, I've really enjoyed this. It's enjoyable. I guess that's the thing. You can sit back and watch it like a fan. It's really enjoyable. And even Spears, give him credit. I thought he was good here. He didn't bother me at all, and I thought him working with MJF, it worked. It made the jacket thing work, and him being there, the facial expressions from him and MJF after Wardlow threatened them was great. Because they both know it's on. They know the guy. I really like this. This is great.